there's never any duty to go against what our true feelings are in a given moment. But because that's what we've been taught to do from early childhood, it's a habit, and to that extent, we seem to be not free. But there is actually no unfreedom. It's just a whole lot of preoccupation with ourselves, taking ourselves far too seriously. This whole game of duties and guilt and trauma and whatever else. It's quite a big to do. And it becomes so dense that there's not even little holes of possibility for the light to really come in. And all the time, or most of the time, our spiritual efforts, so-called, make things worse because they're more preoccupation with ourselves. It's basically the cultivation of a new self-image, which is always then in front of our face, and it stops us from seeing things how they truly are. Because our energy is being literally siphoned off to fuel and nourish something which is false, but which will hopefully suffice to the demands, duties that we have towards others and towards society and towards humanity and whatnot. It's a pretty perverse roundabout that we keep going. And we don't see it. We're mostly blissfully unaware of it. Or rather, not blissfully. And the reason the world is in the state that it's in is exactly the same. And the biggest gift, which is to be free, is what we already have. Hey, Michael. I haven't checked out your channel recently. Nice to see you. Nice to see you too. I haven't been on recently. I've been a few months, I think 2-3 months. So, yeah. So there's no duty ever to be not free. And as soon as we give credence to what is expected of us, or to the demands of others, that can be in a relationship, in a friendship, it can be very casually, very flippantly, in so many contexts. As soon as we give credence to those things, we're kind of hooked and attached, and that would be the unfreedom. But there's never any. If we just stop to think about it, it's even in a logical sense, it's very clear that it supposes that there is some authority which says that this is the way things should be done. So we do have some duty as civilians, as parents, as children, as towards the earth, towards humanity, towards anything. So yeah, it always presupposes an authority. And if we stop to think about that, what would that be? But other people who have said something, set something in stone, written something, maybe it's very ancient, then it tends to get a lot more credence even. So yeah, it really, a lot of these things just bear stopping and thinking about it for a minute, even in a logical sense, to see what nonsense it is. Yeah, I guess it popped up on your feed because you checked out the videos before. Your name is very familiar. So we've definitely talked before, right? I don't know if it's a radical perspective. Um, it seems very basic. I think the things that we see going on around us, whether on the small scale or on the big scale, those are pretty radical. But yeah, it's ironic then that common sense gets seen as radical, no? We all have a sense of what freedom is. We all have a sense of dignity. We all have a sense of integrity. We all have a sense of fairness, of justice. Um, no matter how blunted we are to by having bought into this conditioning, those senses are there. And even if they're dormant, they can definitely be uncovered, or it's like muscles that we don't use. Radical has gone to the root. Yeah. The belief that we have a duty of any kind is pretty crippling. It's not something passive, because then obviously if we don't meet the duty, then we are guilty of something. And it's a chicken and egg situation, because we are supposedly guilty by nature, even uh, for, at least in the Judeo-Christian view, which is pretty widespread, you could say. There's a default setting of being of guilt, which then sets up duty as the salvation. But it's present in other religions too. It's the concept of karma, the duty to do good. Yeah, it's all pretty well networked. I haven't come across anyone on the internet who says it so plainly as you, without the trappings. What would be the trappings? Interesting. I'm curious to hear what you think the trappings would be. And there must be a lot of them, no different ones. I've also seen some things, people talk about things, they hear things, and then they reformulate them in almost the same way and think they've uh, achieved some kind of freedom, which is just another trapping. Self-realization, enlightenment. Yeah. Okay. Yes. It's good that you see through that, It's not a given at all. At all. Yeah. So what a great thing to have one's senses alive and breathing and well and healthy. That's really that's what anchors you. That's what keeps you from drifting into some superficiality and fakeness. It keeps you from deluding yourself and wasting a lot of energy and coming to the end of a life lived, looking back and seeing, wow, I actually uh, did most of that for some kind of recognition or, yeah. Um, we all have, I was just going to say the same thing. Like, we all have a sense of when something's a bit off, right? So if you see something on the internet and it seems a little bit off, even if it's just 1% and 99% is like, yeah, okay, that has logic behind it. It makes sense. It's in accordance what's in the scriptures with what's Buddhist or Hindu or whatever. Then we swallow whatever it is very easily without any filter, and we ignore the main one, which is our own, which is our sense of what is of truth, really, of doesn't sound quite right, something's a bit fishy, something's a bit off. um, and that sense we so easily ignore to our own detriment. That's really the one thing we have. That's all we have. And then it's so easy to get misguided if we don't pay heed to that. And then so what? Even if we disregard someone who is genuine by mistake or by, we get some sense of something's not quite right, and then we just put it aside. So what? Even if that person was genuine, so what? What's the loss? It's not like we need anyone to achieve something or to free us or to save us. So what? Then maybe it wasn't the right time to listen to that person. And when things calibrate, then maybe we'll encounter them again. If not, so what? Really. Natal chart done recently, which was fun. So many people go way down the rabbit hole with astrology. Yeah, with everything, right? With non-duality as well. Way down the rabbit hole. I wonder if maybe all rabbit holes are the same. I was just wondering if the non-duality one is kind of goes kind of deeper than others. Maybe not. It just has a finality about it. It's this assumption that I've been enlightened, that I've woken up, that I've become self-realized. And that's a huge assumption, because then there's no going back. Then the pride system is so big around that it won't allow anything to question it. Yeah. the conviction, it really requires some auto conviction, because it's such a delicate thing. It's such a the gift of really becoming free, I guess. It can be genuine, and then it can still be. It's a very delicate moment, so it can still be taken over and claimed as something that I can decorate myself with. So it's a yeah. Once that assumption is made, if there's some hijacking of it, that's I think that's pretty hard to come back from. And maybe that's the same with anything that we go into a rabbit hole with. Although, yeah, I mean, a lot of things also, there's a benefit to hitting our head into the wall repeatedly, because at some point it's just going to crack, something's going to give. But this enlightenment stuff, it's pretty steep. It's a whole lot of steep pride. I also took a mother wound course online. What about childhood trauma and stuffing feelings? By stuffing feelings, you mean repressing feelings? What about it? The only issue is seeing ourselves as wounded. That would be the only issue in this context. Being in the body and not dissociating. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by dissociating. I'm not entirely sure what that means. But yeah, the only I don't know what about childhood trauma and stuffing feelings. Repressed feelings are repressed feelings. Trauma that's experienced in childhood is that. It happens. But the carrying it around with us all our life and making an image of it, yeah, and pretending like there isn't a completely natural, like wounds heal, right? You cut yourself, it heals. It's the same with this stuff. Life takes care of us. To pretend that it doesn't, and somehow that we have to make some spiritual efforts or do this or that, it goes in the wrong direction any way you cut it. Being in the body is that's the reality anyway. Dissociating then from the body, that's a mental game. It's too much preoccupation with my wounds, my trauma, yeah. It's a lot of, because the ego loves this preoccupation with oneself. It sort of rolls around in it because it's all about me. It's always about me. And then again, and repeat and repeat and repeat. Yeah, it's almost like creating a problem so that then I can work and make effort to find a solution, and I can forever be preoccupied with myself, and maybe one day someone will discover how special I really am. And but yeah, all along it's all been about me. And the gift is life. and as if life and nature don't have everything already in them, so it includes us as well. We're a part of it. It's not something you can separate. We're one form, yeah. The body is a form, is a constellation of life, I guess. Each one is a unique expression of life, and as if that's not fully taken care of, like a flower or a tree or an animal. They are in a natural context, right? But everything is nourished. We get food, the sun shines, the atmospheric gases are at an optimal level so you can breathe. And how can we pretend that that's not there? You know, it's like we're constantly ignoring what's already there, and that includes freedom. So to pretend like there isn't, how do you say, a return back to health and harmony from any disharmony or disease, yeah, is to really ignore. It's really a preoccupation with ourselves, with humans in general, that we are the ones who are responsible for making everything work. So now I've heard that um, childhood trauma can mean this or that. It's important to heal childhood trauma so that I can be, or I realize that I'm acting in a certain way and I'm thinking it must be related to childhood. There are certain patterns of, I don't know, defensive patterns because this happened in my life or that happened in my life. Okay, it's good to see something like that. Something can come as an insight, but then that's it. That's done. And the insight is not even, if it's necessary, it'll come. And sometimes it comes, it's not even necessary. It's just a bonus. Like, look, it's just for appreciation to see. Yeah. But these things get healed anyway. We're using non-dual teachings to not feel and escape into formlessness. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, sure. Anything can be used for that. Yeah, definitely. I think it's ironic, the not feeling thing, because that's like a constant effort that's being made, I guess. Um, yeah, it's weird. It's a strange abstraction, like to escape into formlessness. I know what you mean. It's a hmm, I don't know. It's a whole lot of effort and pretense. Um, yeah. Okay. So in that context, I guess it makes sense. So recovering, if there's something that made us make some kind of decision to not feel things, or but yeah, it feels even too much to say it because these things get readjusted by themselves. It's just when we have too much self-obsession that we get lost and we get entangled in things. And then there are so many, you're referring to a course, there are so many offerings out there. This is the right one. This is the right one. Nowadays it's on social media and you can advertise this stuff. You can make millions with this stuff. Okay. If that's what you want, then do that. Um, but if there's a meeting of life, that there's an opportunity in every moment, or something happens, especially hitting our heads into the wall with something, then there's like a real um, moment of like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And there can be a real sort of just leaving everything unresolved and things settling down and feeling our like common sense again, I guess, coming back down onto the earth, back down to earth. then what else do we need? If that's there, if those moments are there, then if we don't want those, then okay, then we can go and make millions, Not that there's anything wrong with making money either. Things get taken out of context. Things get written in stone and seen as absolute, and like the discussion of childhood trauma. It is what it is, but some big spiritual mission to heal trauma is another misguided thing, because it's not us. We're not the authors of things. We don't have the handle. We don't have the I've got the tool for you that's going to work and make everything nice for you. I would say 99% of the kind of courses that you find online, the object is for the one making the course to big themselves up, to aggrandize themselves, yeah, and to literally take other people's energy in the form of money and just in the form of attention as well. Yeah, it's a shame that non-duality is so beset with these kind of things that you're saying, like escaping, some kind of form of escape, because it's a nice subject. It's very simple. It's something very simple to talk about, and there's so much misguidance, because it's not just people listening to it escaping, but a lot of people talking about it from a wrong standpoint, from like a deluded standpoint, and that just makes everything murky. And then when you have conversations, there's a lot of misguided stuff floating around. So it's nice to have when you say getting to the root and stuff and talking plainly is very nice, as you say that it's that you haven't come across anyone on the internet who says it so plainly. For me, it's also nice to talk to have a conversation in this plain sense, because it's down to earth, and it's a joy to talk about it with a sense of how things really are, plain and simple. When I connected with you a while back, I asked you about counseling because I was suffering from coke, pills, and alcohol. I remember that we talked about counseling. All three dropped out of my life spontaneously at the first of the year. Okay. Huh. Amazing. In many senses, all the quote unquote addicts out there are the ones who are closer to how things really are than some non-duality freaks, Yeah, because look how unfree the world of humans seems to be. What a craziness that's going on. So of course there's going to be a tendency to try and to use in some way, It's a natural thing, because these things are so unnatural that the pressures of conditioning are extremely unnatural, and they're extremely strong. So yeah, good for you. Happy for you. So you have an example of how smoothly and easily things can work out, right? Because if these three things drop out of your life spontaneously, how amazing is that, right? Like that's not something you would assume would happen, right? You assume that it's going to take a lot of this effort, this institution, that help from this person, that it's whatever, yeah? So that things can drop like that spontaneously, then you can't tell me that life doesn't look after you, right? I'm not saying that's what you're saying, it's just for argument's sake. Exactly. So what about claiming? I could claim that now I'm sober. Exactly. Exactly. So you see what I was just saying, that it's a gift. You see the gift of this. So how do you respond to a gift? Or if you give someone a gift, like you feel really joyful to give a kid a gift, something they really wanted for Christmas. Yeah, just imagine that, some pirate ship or car, toy car. So you give them that, you're so happy you're really looking forward to their expression, and so on and so on and so on. There's no strings attached to the gift you're giving. You're not giving the kid a gift so that you get something back. It's purely about joy, right? So that's how gifts are given to us as well. So the claiming would then be if the kid then goes and shows the car around and is so proud that it has this car and others don't. Yeah. Or the kid, or the pirate ship. Look at the expensive pirate ship I got. Yeah. So I'm privileged. I must be special. That would be the claiming. Kid isn't going to do that. But yeah, of course. So what about claiming? I could claim that now I'm sober. Yes, you could. But you see it. So don't, or you won't. Right? That's the sincerity, really. Or like, oh, I dropped it so easily. Right? It's a gift. That's what life is. It's the same. And if you see I don't know what the word is, the unharmoniousness of the claiming, then it's something you don't want to do. And that's it. That's the end of it. You don't need attention for being sober, or you don't need approval, you don't need admiration for it. That's it. It's a gift for you to be happy. That's it. Gift from God, gift from life, whatever you want to call it. Gift from nature, yeah. It's literally like a gift of a parent to a child. This is what the child really wants. It comes in response to your real call for help, or real genuine desire for it. So I'm following a female teacher online who's very genuine, I feel, and I've learned a lot from her. She refers to herself as the return of Christ. Any thoughts? Wow, if she thinks she's the return of Christ, then that's pretty weird. I can't have any thoughts about that because I don't know her. And teacher, I don't know if that's you saying teacher or her, but yeah, teaching is really doesn't have any place in this. Teaching is for schools and universities, you know? This has nothing to do with teaching. But to refer to yourself as that, it seems so lofty. For what? Why? I don't know. Maybe somehow whatever you hear still arrives to you in some genuine form, you know, something you're picking up. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's a funny thing, you know, it happens a lot. Like people call themselves this or that, or they get some Indian name or something, you know. Um, I find it pretty weird. As if India were the standard of things, you know. Pretty fucked up. See, that's another thing. Radical non-duality. There's seems to be this. So there's non-duality, and now there's not radical non-duality. I wonder what's going to be next. It's all a lot of hot air, really. It's a lot of pretense. So the word non-duality means not. So there's not two things, and then there is radically not two things. It's like, okay, 1 + 1 is 2, and then there's a radical 1 + 1 is 2. What the fuck is that?